Picture this: while millions of Iranians queue for bread, one man sits behind golden gates, surrounded by luxury few monarchs can match. He's not just Iran's supreme leader. He's its shadow emperor. His name? Ali Khamenei. A man cloaked in robes of religious authority, but beneath the surface lies something far more opulent. Private jets. Underground vaults. Palaces no camera has ever seen. His true fortune isn't measured in sermons or ideology, but in billions. And while the world's eyes were on Raisi, the real power was never in the president's hands. It has always belonged to Khamenei. Born in 1939 in the holy city of Mashhad, Khamenei's early years were far from luxurious. He shared a modest, cramped home with his family, one room, a cold basement, and meals that often consisted of little more than stale bread and raisins. His father, a devout cleric, believed in discipline and austerity. But that frugal life would become nothing more than a distant memory. Because within a few decades, Khamenei would rise not just as a spiritual guide but as the secret billionaire at the helm of a global ideological machine. After the death of Ayatollah Khomeini in 1989, Khamenei didn't just inherit a title. He inherited the throne of a silent empire. Behind the scenes, he quietly built an untouchable power base, one that extended beyond Iran's mosques and into its military, its oil trade, and even its media. He doesn't need to run for office. He doesn't need to win votes. He rules by divine authority, immune to challenge. And with that authority comes access to funds, influence, and every lever of control imaginable. Estimates now place the value of assets under his command at over $100 billion. Not reals, dollars. A fortune quietly amassed through complex webs of religious endowments, offshore accounts, and tightly controlled business empires. Through the Setad organization, a powerful conglomerate with real estate holdings, stakes in telecoms, and control over national infrastructure, Khamenei wields more financial power than some sovereign nations. Yet this isn't the life of a humble cleric. This is the lifestyle of a monarch dressed in modest garb. On Palestine Street in central Tehran sits a heavily guarded estate, Khamenei's private fortress. From the outside, it's draped in secrecy. But those who've seen it describe something extraordinary: sprawling gardens manicured to perfection, a high-tech underground command center, a lavish library of rare books, and a garage filled with imported luxury vehicles. It's said that among his favorite possessions are a BMW 7 Series, a Mercedes-Benz SL, and a Porsche Cayenne, not exactly the image of religious humility. Each vehicle, armored and customized, is valued in the hundreds of thousands. This is a man who claims to reject Western excess but lives in it daily. Yet his luxury isn't only material. Khamenei enjoys a level of protection unlike any other leader on earth. He doesn't walk Tehran's streets. He rarely appears live. He is guarded by an elite, covert security unit so secretive that even Iran's top military officials weren't aware of its existence until recently. After a string of Israeli strikes wiped out key figures in Iran's nuclear and intelligence sectors, Khamenei's movements became shrouded in total silence. No convoys. No public trails. Just grainy footage and carefully crafted broadcasts filmed behind nondescript curtains. Intelligence sources believe he's relocated from his traditional seat of power to an undisclosed facility, a bunker rumored to be beneath the heart of Tehran. It's said to be connected to the IRGC's media command center, protected by blast-proof walls and an AI-monitored perimeter. But here's where it gets even more surreal. Despite all this wealth and power, Khamenei no longer acts like a man fully in control. Insiders claim he's consumed by fear. Not of protests. Not of coups, but of a single, clean drone strike. Because now, with Donald Trump back in power, the pressure has escalated. During his previous term, Trump reportedly blocked Israeli plans to assassinate Khamenei. But this time, his language has changed. He recently said, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding," before adding the 4 words that have frozen Iran's elite in place: "Not for now." This isn't just war talk. It's psychological warfare. Trump knows that shame, not bullets, can fracture Iran's ideological machine. And Khamenei, who once declared he'd sacrifice his body and soul for Islam, is now hiding behind layers of surveillance and silence, fearing martyrdom might come without warning and without glory. While Iranian state media continues to show a composed leader, video analysts have noticed subtle but alarming changes: pre-recorded broadcasts instead of live ones, a different backdrop, and a notable absence from official buildings. A pattern is emerging, one that suggests the supreme leader is no longer supreme in confidence. And if the whispers are true, then the once unshakable ruler is now trying to negotiate with the very powers he once denounced. He's allegedly sent back-channel requests through Qatar and Europe, quietly signaling an interest in dialogue. Not for peace, but for preservation. But beneath all this, the most shocking truth remains his personal fortune. Ali Khamenei isn't merely rich. His wealth is dynastic. Through religious trusts like the Setad, officially meant to manage confiscated property for the benefit of the people, he's gained control over thousands of valuable real estate properties across Iran. These assets generate staggering revenues annually, funneled into operations that support his rule, stifle dissent, and enrich his inner circle. Some insiders estimate Khamenei's net worth exceeds $1.2 billion personally, with access to another $95 billion through affiliated organizations. And what does that money fund? Not hospitals, not infrastructure, but a network of private jets, villas in Europe and the Middle East, armored vehicles, and offshore bank accounts spread across several continents. His sons, too, live like royalty. Mojtaba Khamenei, the presumed heir to his father's secret kingdom, controls massive financial flows and has been linked to oil kickbacks, land deals, and corporate holdings that dwarf the income of entire provinces. Reports suggest Mojtaba's personal fortune is north of $3 billion. From gold bullion stored in Switzerland to luxury retail ventures across Africa, the Khamenei dynasty has built an empire that's invisible to ordinary Iranians, but fully visible to foreign intelligence. So while sanctions continue to strangle Iran's economy, and inflation sends food prices soaring, the supreme leader's family enjoys a life of quiet luxury, untouched and uninterrupted. They are not just leaders. They are the monarchs of a modern shadow empire. And this is only the beginning. Behind the black robes and fiery sermons, behind the slogans of sacrifice and resistance, lies a truth that few Iranians, and even fewer outsiders, truly comprehend. Ali Khamenei isn't just a ruler. He's the patriarch of one of the most secretive and powerful dynasties in the modern Middle East. His family doesn't merely benefit from his rule. They operate like a royal cartel, managing assets, siphoning profits, and living in luxury while the rest of the nation buckles under sanctions and economic ruin. Let's start with Mojtaba Khamenei, the second eldest son and the crown prince of this invisible empire. Mojtaba doesn't give speeches or appear in public like a typical heir. He operates from the shadows. But make no mistake, he's one of the most powerful unelected figures in Iran. Estimates of his personal wealth exceed $3 billion. And this isn't passive wealth. It's aggressively built and carefully shielded. Insiders claim Mojtaba receives massive cuts from every barrel of oil sold outside international sanctions. For every $1 oil deal struck with China, the global market pays $15, and Mojtaba pockets the difference. He's also known for his extravagant lifestyle. Private jets, racehorses, a collection of European luxury cars stored in secure hangars, and ownership of Iran's largest shopping mall, complete with international brands few Iranians can afford. One particularly outrageous gift came from former IRGC commander and now Tehran mayor Mohammad Bagher Kalibaf, who handed Mojtaba thousands of hectares of premium land in Abbasabad, land worth hundreds of millions. And what does the supreme leader's son do with it? He turns it into luxury apartments for the elite, not public housing, not schools. Then there's Masoud Khamenei, the digital brain of the dynasty. While Mojtaba handles oil, land, and influence, Masoud controls the flow of information. He manages his father's personal website, but that's just the surface. Behind the screen lies a financial portfolio stretching into Europe. French and UK banks reportedly hold over $400 million in accounts tied to Masoud. Tehran's own banking system carries another $100 million under his name. And perhaps most curiously, Masoud is said to hold the exclusive rights to Renault automobile sales within Iran, a market worth tens of millions annually. It doesn't end with the sons. Khamenei, the youngest, manages high-stakes trade operations. His liquidity alone is valued at over $10 million. What does that mean in practice? He manipulates local markets, pulls strings on imports and exports, and ensures the family business never stops flowing, no matter the sanctions. His personal net worth? Somewhere north of $200 million. Even the women of the Khamenei clan enjoy lives far removed from the average Iranian citizen. So what you're looking at isn't just corruption. It's a dynasty, a pyramid of power built on oil, silence, and repression. While Iranian youth protest in the streets and the middle class disintegrates under inflation, the Khamenei family circles the globe in private jets, surrounded by gold, art, and bodyguards. And now that fortress is beginning to crack. The Iranian people, and the world, are no longer blind to the contradictions. Khamenei's regime preaches austerity, martyrdom, and Islamic purity, but it lives like royalty, insulated from consequence. And with Donald Trump back in the White House, the spotlight is hotter than ever. June 18, 2025. The world saw something unprecedented. Instead of his usual live broadcast, Khamenei appeared in a grainy, pre-recorded video. He looked frail, uneasy, and the tone? No longer that of a defiant revolutionary, but of a man grasping at control. His message wasn't one of strength. It was a whispered signal, "I'm still here. I'm still alive." It was theater. A carefully staged performance meant to suggest continuity, but what it actually revealed was weakness. According to reports from diplomatic insiders, Khamenei has quietly sent envoys to re-establish dialogue, not with traditional allies, but with the United States. And the effort wasn't subtle. One U.S. source claims Khamenei's team offered to fly to Washington. The response? Trump blasted it on social media. They even offered to come to the White House, he posted. The regime denied it. But the damage was done. For a man who once dictated the terms of nuclear negotiations, this is humiliation of the highest order. And now, Israel is escalating too. Recent airstrikes have targeted Iranian command centers and nuclear facilities. Mossad has reportedly increased recruitment, even crowdsourcing intelligence operations with civilian volunteers. Every analyst agrees, this isn't just about war anymore. It's about psychological collapse. Inside Iran, cracks are forming. Advisors are leaving. Dissent is rising. And in the background, Reza Pahlavi, the exiled prince, is gaining momentum. His name is now being whispered in Tehran's back alleys and satellite broadcasts alike. Khamenei knows the playbook well. When survival is on the line, he turns to deception, and this moment is no different. Intelligence sources believe his current strategy is to give just enough, a pause in uranium enrichment, a few symbolic reforms, to buy time. The goal isn't peace. It's preservation. And the method? Appease the enemy without admitting defeat. This is a geopolitical magic trick. Offer a concession, call it a victory, and hope the world moves on. But here's the terrifying truth. Even if a new deal is made, even if the heat dies down, Iran's nuclear ambitions will simply go underground, buried, delayed, reimagined. Khamenei's regime has no interest in surrender. Only survival. The stakes couldn't be higher. An empire of palaces, cars, jets, and private armies now balances on the health and fear of an 86-year-old man hiding behind curtains. He may hold the reins of a $95 billion regime, but his grip is slipping. So what happens when power, wealth, and fear collide? Maybe the world won't see a fiery end, no missile strike, no drone footage. Maybe what we'll witness instead is something even more devastating. A regime rotting from within, one luxury at a time. And the final question remains. How long can Ali Khamenei fake strength before the illusion collapses under the weight of truth?